right, welcome back to ABA Exam Review and the continuation of our RBT Exam Practice series, where we're going through the next set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're joining, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials, including our proven combo pack. As always, when you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout-out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Alex loves Christmas music, but will not listen to it all year round. He always waits until the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving to start playing Christmas music in his car. The Monday of Thanksgiving functions as a blank relative to playing Christmas music. So we're looking specifically at the Monday of Thanksgiving. We always have to look at in the context of the question, therefore antecedents and consequences. So we're looking at the Monday of Thanksgiving relative to playing the Christmas music. What do we know? We know Alex loves Christmas music, but doesn't listen to it all year round, meaning it's always motivating for Alex to listen to the music, but he waits until a certain time to start playing the music. And he waits until the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving to start playing Christmas music. And that's exactly what we're looking at. So the Monday of Thanksgiving does what to Alex? What signals to Alex it's now time to play Christmas music because reinforcement is now available. So it's the antecedent to playing the music, and it's signaling reinforcement is now available, and it's evoking the behavior. You put all three of those things together, what is it functioning as? A motivating operation. Is the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving changing value of Christmas music to Alex? Well, not necessarily, because he loves Christmas music. He always has motivation to listen to it, but he doesn't year round. Only when the Monday of Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving comes around and signals to Alex it's time to play Christmas music, does he play it? So it's actually a discriminative stimulus relative to playing Christmas music. It's now signaling reinforcement is available for playing the music. What about a prompt? Well, a prompt comes in between the SD and the response, and there is no prompt here. It's just simply SD, response. And it isn't a consequence because it's an antecedent to playing the music. So the Monday of Thanksgiving functions as the discriminative stimulus relative to playing Christmas music. Last year at Thanksgiving, Tori's family drank too much wine and ended up arguing about politics. This year, Tori decides she won't serve wine at lunch, but instead hides the wine until after everyone is done eating. What type of intervention is Tori using? Looking at Tori's behavior and the intervention specifically she's using here. We know last year, Tori's family drank too much wine and ended up arguing. So Tori says, well, this year, I won't even serve the wine until after everyone is done eating. So what is Tori doing? Is she being reactive or is she being proactive? And we've got to be careful when we ask ourselves that question, because we could say, well, Tori's reacting to what happened last year. But in the context of ABA, we think in terms of antecedents and consequences. And this is a whole year later. So in the moment, had Tori hidden the wine, that might have been reactive. But in this case, Tori's not going to allow the same thing to happen this year. She's being proactive. She's taking preventative steps. And so when you take preventative or proactive steps, you are using an antecedent intervention. Now, what about a consequence intervention? A consequence intervention is reactive. So in the moment, when you react to something happening, that's a consequence intervention. Tori's doing this a whole year later. She's trying to prevent the same thing from happening. So Tori's also using C, a preventative intervention. An antecedent intervention is either preventative or proactive, depending on how you look at it, but it means the same thing. You're working to prevent something from happening or working to make something happen. And so what Tori is using is an antecedent intervention or a preventative intervention, meaning our answer is going to be D, both A and C. Kelly always gets upset with Danny because Danny always helps himself to more food before everyone has had a chance to eat. Kelly told Danny that he ate 3 plates of food before she even ate one. What measurement is Kelly using? So the wording is a little off on this question, but let's just keep it simple, and it's an easy question. What measurement is Kelly using? So we're looking at Kelly's behavior, of course, relative to Danny, because Danny's the other person in this question. And Kelly is upset because Danny always gets more food before everyone has had a chance to eat. So Kelly says, I'm going to measure Danny's food. And then she tells Danny, you ate 3 plates of food before she even ate one. So how did Kelly measure Danny's behavior relative to hers? Well, she counted. She counted how many plates Danny ate. She counted how many plates she ate. So when you use a count as your measurement, what do we call that? A, rate. Rate does have a count component because rate has a frequency component. But with rate, we would also need a time component. We don't necessarily have that here. Kelly isn't saying, well, Danny ate 3 plates of food in an hour or in 30 minutes. She just said, you ate 3 plates of food. I ate 1. Kelly's just comparing a count. So we don't have that time component to make it rate. What about latency? Well, latency is the time in between the SD and the first response. We're not using necessarily time here. Kelly's comparing the counts. So what Kelly's comparing is C, frequency. Danny ate 3, she ate 1. She compares those frequencies. And duration. Duration, again, is the time of a single response. We're not timing how long it takes Danny or Kelly to eat. We're simply counting how many plates each one of them ate. So again, Kelly says Danny ate this many plates. I ate this many. She compares those counts. Kelly is using frequency. This is the second year that you'll be working with a client who is 10 years old. As you are leaving the house one day, his parents invite you to their Thanksgiving lunch they have each year. How should you respond? Let's think about this. We're looking at we would assume a behavior technician. So we're looking from your point of view as the behavior technician. You're working with the client for the second year who's 10 years old. So you've worked with them quite a while. And as you're leaving the house, his parents say, can you come or do you want to come to the Thanksgiving lunch they have each year? Now, what is the issue with that? Well, you can't go as a friend or a babysitter or really anything outside of if you were possibly working with the client at lunch, because you got to keep it strictly professional. We don't cross the boundary from professional to personal. That's a dual relationship. We don't cross those boundaries. And so if you were to show up to Thanksgiving lunch, there's a very high chance you're crossing the boundary from professional to personal. How should you respond here? A, tell them you will check your calendar and get back to them. Well, you don't want to lead them on. You just need to be honest with them. The ethics code, which we have, RBTs and BCBAs and BCABAs, is there to protect us and use it to your advantage. And if you're not comfortable with it, then you can let your supervisor handle it. But we don't lead them on and pretend this is a possibility. We've got to nip it in the butt right there and tell them immediately, sorry, I can't attend these family events outside of work. B, politely decline the invite and let your supervisor know. Good. Say, thank you for the invite. I can't make it. If they push for a reason why, then you can use the ethics code. And you're always going to want to let your supervisor know, just so they're aware if anything comes up or if it continues happening. C, accept the invitation and show up briefly. Even showing up for 5 minutes, you're still starting to cross that line. We've got to keep it strictly professional. Don't give any hope that there's a possibility that you can hang out with the family or the client outside of work. And then D, ask to be removed from the case as this constitutes a dual relationship. Well, not yet. There's nothing wrong with them inviting you. The parents don't know. They're not part of the ethics code. However, you are. You haven't engaged in a dual relationship yet, but you are on the brink. You can't attend that lunch. That is crossing the line. So you should respond by politely declining the invite and then letting your supervisor know. A skill acquisition plan with the goal of teaching a client how to ask for a snack is put into place. Data show that the client asks for a snack 1 time, 3 times, 3 times, 5 times, and 7 times on consecutive days. How would you describe the data? Describing the data, it's a little vague, so we might need to look at our answer choices. We usually don't do that. We always break down the question first. So let's start there. Let's start at the question. We're looking at a skill acquisition plan. We're trying to teach a client how to ask for a snack. And so we want, of course, this behavior to increase. With the skill acquisition plan, when you're teaching something, you typically want it to go up. Data show client asked for a snack 1 time, 3 times, 3 times, 5 times, and 7 times. So on consecutive days, what is the data doing? What are the data doing? Well, they're increasing 1 time to 3 to 5 to 7. So how would we describe that data? If we were to graph this, what would that look like? Would it be a downward trend, an upward trend, or no trend? Because we can determine with this data. Well, it's not going to be a downward trend because day 1 was 1, and then day 2 is 3, and then 3, and then 5, and then 7. So what we're looking at here, if we were to graph this or plot this, is an upward trend. The data is moving upwards. The client is learning how to ask for this snack. So if our goal was to teach this client how to put a snack in place, would you say we've been successful? I would say yes. Our data are trending upward. There is a trend. No trend would be like 1 time, 3 times, 3 times, 1 time, 3 times. That's not really a trend. But if we have 5 data points all moving in an upward trajectory, we can pretty safely assume the data are moving upward. Therefore, I would describe the data as having an upward trend. Miss Andrews teaches Charlie how to add single and double-digit numbers. After summer break, Charlie moves up a grade and is still able to add both single and double-digit numbers, but in a new classroom. What is described here? All right, let's think about this. We have Miss Andrews. She's taught Charlie how to add single and double-digit numbers. After summer break, Charlie moves up a grade and is still able to add both single and double-digit numbers, and in a new classroom. So, Miss Andrews teaches Charlie to add these numbers. He goes on break, comes back from break. He can still add single and double-digit numbers, in addition, in a brand new environment. So what do we have here? Do we have a generalization? Well, we do. Charlie's gone from the grade before and into a new classroom, and he's generalizing his ability to add single and double-digit numbers. That's perfect. That is a good example of generalization. Now, what about maintenance? Well, maintenance says Charlie, even after teaching stops, is still able to add these numbers. We know Charlie was taught this, and then he went on break. So with this break, even after the break, Charlie still maintained his ability to add single and double-digit numbers. Not only that, but he generalized that ability as well. So would this be response generalization? Because we know it's A and B. Well, it's not response generalization because the responses aren't changing. Now, it's stimulus generalization because Charlie is able to engage in the responses in the presence of all these different stimuli, but he's not changing up the responses. Remember, response generalization involves one stimulus and multiple responses, while stimulus generalization involves one set of responses or one response and multiple stimuli. So he's not generalizing response generalization necessarily, but he is generalizing as a whole because he's adding in a new classroom and he's maintaining his ability to add single and double digit numbers even after a break. So what is described here? Well, both A and B. And then a continuous reinforcement schedule is also known as what type of schedule? So a continuous reinforcement schedule is the thickest schedule we have. Every response gets reinforced. It's very good for teaching new skills and just starting out. What do we also call a continuous schedule? And there's only one type of schedule that is continuous. Is it a fixed ratio 1, a variable ratio 1, a fixed interval 1, or a variable interval 1? Well, with a continuous schedule, again, every response is reinforced. So which one of those 4 do we reinforce every response? Well, it's going to be A, fixed ratio 1. In a fixed ratio 1, every single response receives reinforcement. Thank you for watching. Check out RBT Exam Review for all of our study materials, btexamreview.com for RBT study materials. As always, let us know when you pass so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.